Hello, hello. There we go, stream's just caught up on my end. Hey guys! I'm trying something a little bit different with my setup today, so hopefully reading the chat is going to be easier, keeping up with you guys is going to be easier. We'll see how it goes. Not going to waste any time, we've got a lot of pieces to carry on cutting out. I did these earlier, I didn't do these last week, because there is no point in you watching me cut all of these out by hand. It's going to take forever. So instead we're going to start from being nearly done-ish. You can use scissors for this, whichever way you prefer. Personally, I'm going to be using my favourite snap-off knife blade, because it's great. Okay, let me know if there are any issues with audio or video or anything like that. Hopefully it'll be okay, but I can't promise anything. Should just be using all the same settings as last time, which worked just fine for me. The only thing that's changed is I've moved my laptop a little bit and moved my mic a little bit. And my camera a little bit. So we got this guy taped up and patterned in the stream last week, which was on Wednesday. And now we're moving on to the fun part. We can actually get some fur out today, which is going to be great. Okay, what's going on? Hey guys! Hello Ludo, Rosaline, and Maeve. That's everybody that's just said hi to me, by the way. I appreciate there's probably more of you than that in here. So, as always, if you guys have got any questions or anything like that, please feel free to fire them at me. If you have any random conversation topics, feel free to fire that at me too. Because I can do nothing but sit here in silence and talk to you guys. Oh, we got a lot more highs. Hello, Era, Groovy Goat, Danny. Oh, I'm going to have to pronounce your name and it's going to go wrong. Zuviro. Sunset Scorpion. Crystal Mystic. Tony. Blue. Spritz. There are so many of you in here. Hey guys, thank you so much to everyone who's come along. Hopefully we're going to be furring today. Basically, it just depends on how long it takes me to get all of these fur pieces trimmed, cut out, and sewn together. The likelihood is we're not actually going to be sticking any fur down today, but we are definitely starting to work with fur at the very least. And if you've missed any of our previous streams, we made this guy, made the foam guy in day 1. Day 2, we got all the patterning done. And then now we're working on with the fur. So the foam pattern for this guy is available to buy on Etsy as well. There should be a link to that in the description if anybody is interested. Working on your own suit at the moment. Do you have any advice? Just try, I guess. Try everything. Don't be afraid to try stuff because you're afraid it's going to come out wrong. It might come out wrong, but that just means you can learn from it and do it differently next time. Part 2 will be available on YouTube, hopefully by Thursday. I'm hoping I can just upload part 2 as both the full stream and a time-lapse version, or I might time-lapse 2 and 3 together or something because they're shorter. We'll see how it goes, but it will be going up on YouTube. Just not necessarily all in the correct order. I'm your favourite suit maker. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Where do I buy fur? Loads of different places. At the moment, I order most of my stuff from an eBay shop called Swingcraft 2. They're in the UK. A lot of their stuff can be found from Mohair Bear Making Supplies as well, but I don't tend to work with them anymore. And when I order from overseas, I go with fabric.com. I'm going to try and keep looking at you guys, but I'm trying to like look at this too, so we'll see how it goes. Might be a bit tricky. Don't particularly want to cut off my finger or something because I'm talking to you. That wouldn't be so great, would it? I'm going to turn the heat down in here a little bit. Where can I buy the foam, and can I buy the foam in stores? I buy it online from eBay. Shops in both the UK and the US do sell them. I don't exactly know where. Like in the UK, I know you can get it from Dunelm Mill. Or Dunelm, sorry, it's not Dunelm Mill anymore, it used to be. Pretty sure in the US, Joann's stock it. It's just upholstery foam. Medium density's fine. And it's pretty darn cheap. Going to be making a blinking puppet and you want it to be electronic. Can I recommend a shop to purchase from? No, honestly, I've got no idea. I've never worked with electronics, so that's something that is up to you to figure out. Okay, so 2 o'clock for me definitely seems to be a more accurate time for watchers. That's pretty cool. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Where could you get a kigu? If you want a custom one, look around for artists that do them. Not sure if anybody else in the chat can help you out with that one, but personally I don't know any artists really that do a lot of kigus. I'm sure I follow some on Twitter and stuff, but because I'm not looking to get a kigu, I don't really know. Okay, let's see if I can get away. I can, haha. Rita, if you're going to shout, I'm going to have to shut the door again, mate. Oh, shit. Hey? And you've had food, Chunk? Got a shouty bird and a noisy cat. That's great. Just great. Just downloaded my templates. You're excited to start building your second attempt at a fursuit ever. That's awesome. I'm really glad. Thank you for buying the template. I really hope you enjoy it. Any tips for a beginner suit maker? You will get everything wrong. I honestly can't stress enough how much you're probably going to do wrong, because everyone does. Everyone hates their first suits and stuff after a while. It's very rare it goes well for people, like right off the bat. Don't get discouraged when you do things wrong, because honestly, we all had to learn. Every single one of us made mistakes and has work that we're not proud of because we were still learning to do what we do. I'm 9 years in now. I've been doing this for 9 years. That's kind of a long time. So So don't build your first suit and then look at other suit makers who've been doing it a long time and then feel bad because you're not doing it well enough. I can promise you, everybody's first suits were not great. Well, not everybody. There are some people who build first suits and they look great, but for most of us, it was not a fun experience. This chat's moving too fast for me, guys. I'm really sorry. How long have I been making suits? 9 years. Do I ever get back or shoulder pain? Yes. Yes, all the time. I visit a chiropractor every couple of weeks. And I'm looking to start physiotherapy soon because it's free with the NHS instead of costing me a lot of money each session. My upper back and shoulder pain causes tension headaches as well, which make working very difficult. I try to work standing up, and even if I'm sitting down, you need to try and keep your shoulders back. Basically, it's all in keeping your shoulders back, and moving a lot helps. Get up and move a lot during the day. Don't just sit and suffer, because it won't work. Okey-doke. Okay, so we've got all our pieces cut out. What I'm going to do is arrange them by colour. So like this is pewter fur that I've marked with a P. So I'm going to put that in my pewter pile. And then this is turquoise, which I've marked with a T, or turk in this instance. Also turquoise. But what I also have is those face pieces that, if you guys remember from last time, they're marked in yellow. Can't actually see that very well at all, can you? Basically, I've put a yellow mark on some of them, and that means I need to pre-trim them. So I want to shave them before I actually cut the pieces out and sew them together. So I'm going to put them in a separate pile. Black, turquoise, nose pieces, black, turquoise, ivory. Oh no. One without a marking. That's good. Don't know what colour that's going to be. I think it's probably neck, but I'm not sure. I'm going to put that to the side for a moment. I'll work it out in a minute. More black. Oyster. Oh, oyster pre-trim. Turquoise pre-trim. Black pre-trim. Pewter. Black. Oyster pre-trim. This is also a lot of pieces. This isn't normal. I've kind of shot myself in the foot by doing something nice and complicated. That's marked oyster, but I've got no idea which part that is. I should have taken pictures. Oh, silly me. I don't know what's what anymore. I'm doing really well. That's turquoise. What am I doing? Turquoise, turquoise. Oyster's there. Oyster, 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 oyster. Ivory pre-trim. Pewter. Black. Turquoise. More oyster. Okay, that's probably behind the ears or something. Something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Pretty sure this piece is front of the neck. That would be an ivory piece. No, wait, because that's that one. Is it? Oh no, I've made a grave mistake. Think. No, that doesn't look right. It doesn't work. Oh dear. Don't make silly mistakes like me. Hey Fixie! Do I photo the taped head for reference? I normally do. I normally do. I'm gonna have to check and see if I have got a picture. Let's have a look. Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't have any pictures. Oh no. I'm normally pretty good at this. I'm just at the moment going through to find my videos from the last one. And I think it's corrupt. Oh no, that's what I'm working on now. This is... yeah, that could work. Right. It's there. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Good start. That one. Yeah, you're there. So you are bottom jaw. Which means yay, nay, maybe. Yeah, so I think that bit. Because then what's that bit? Oh. Right. Maybe. Ooh. Yes, okay. That piece goes up there, that piece goes down there. Like that. So I'm gonna go with pewter, I think. Which means you are ivory long. Okay, think we're good, guys. Think we made it. Not certain, but I think so, and I'm gonna roll with that. Am I currently open for commissions? I am not. I'm not going to be open until probably about February February next year. Sorry, the next February. That's what I meant. The one that happens soon. Okay. So. One thing I haven't done yet is, if you guys remember, we did all these blue lines. Oh gosh, I'm trying to do this backwards on my camera. All these blue lines right here, which are the registration marks. So those are going to be used to line the pieces up together, which is one of the reasons I know that one goes there. You can see how it helps you line them back up in the right place. So what you can do is when you're tracing these out on your fur, you can just put a little notch on the side and then flip it and try and remember where they are and stuff. But what I have is a little pattern notcher. And this thing is great because it just cuts them all out for me in one go. Got this on Amazon, it is awesome. Saves so much time. And then with that I can get the little marks, the registration key marks in the right place on both sides of the tape. I'm going to flip that one I think, so that should be fine. They're not necessarily going to be in every place, but the more places you put them in, the easier it's going to be to actually coordinate the pieces back together later on. Does make a bit of a mess, it's kind of like hole punching. And as I said before, this is a lot of pattern pieces. Because I didn't end up trying to make this in a day, I've gone extra complicated. I was trying to keep it really simple with my original design, but simple's no fun. Do I not have any other long overs? No, apparently not. Okay. Oh. It's going to really confuse me, isn't it? It's too many pieces. Don't normally go for this many. It's quite a lot. Take a quick look, see what's going on. Oh no. Oh crap. Sorry guys, did I do it? Okay. Okay, yeah, I timed him out just to get rid of him for a minute. Yeah, I timed him out temporarily just to get rid of him for a minute, and then what I've done is, I've hidden him from the channel or something. I think that just blocks his messages from showing up. I couldn't find a way to just block him outright. I've never had to do that before, so I don't quite know where the options are. So I've done what I can for now, and I've appointed a couple of my friends mods so they can help keep an eye on the chat. Sorry I didn't get to it sooner. I've not had any issues like it yet, so hopefully that's going to get rid of him for us. You got scared when you saw the mod icon on the troll. Yeah. I went to remove him and accidentally clicked the mod button because I'm using a trackpad. So then I immediately undid that. So hopefully he didn't do any damage. But I have modded 2 friends now. Just to help keep the chat a little bit cleaner. Okay, that's all the pieces notched, thank goodness. That bit always takes longer than it needs to. You want to be a mod so you can time out trolls? Sorry, I'm only going to mod people that I know well. But yeah, if it happens again and there's no mods around, if everybody can just block, report, ignore, whatever you can do to stop it for them, like for you, and I'll get to it as soon as I can, or I'll get one of my mods to get to it as soon as I can. So, oh yeah, I've got a few messages from people saying, hey, guess what? Trolls. Sorry, guys. Right, hopefully we can get back to work now. That should be that dealt with. Hopefully. So now I've got all my pieces in separate piles for the colours and then for whether they're being pre-trimmed or not. I want to keep these in those piles. I want to put them somewhere that's not in my workspace. Because I'm going to need this desk. I don't have the space for any of this, oh my gosh. There we go. And now we can get on to the fun part. Okay, what we are going to need is... Lost my brush now. Wrong drawer. Okay, knife to cut the fur pieces with. Again, my favourite little snap-off blades, which I'm just going to snap off a fresh new one. Like so. And I've got a blade sharpener as well. I also like using a little pair of scissors to cut with. These are like my favourite little things. So I've also got them handy. Obviously your fur, your pattern pieces, I'm using a bunch of different furs, a bunch of different pattern pieces. Something to draw on your fur. I don't recommend Sharpies if you can help it. Sharpies can bleed when you get alcohol and stuff on them, and obviously at cons and parties and things like that, that can happen. It can soak through the fur and you can see it. So I have a water erasable pen. So like a temporary fabric pen. I've got a chalk liner, so this is just chalk in like a weird pen thing. This is pretty cool, but I find it really awkward for small delicate shapes and intricate details and stuff. And I've used these quite a lot in the past, and I still use them sometimes. And that is the it is a paint marker, but I find the Posca pens just like drag paint and they're a nightmare. But these gold and silver ones by Uniball, these are great. And I haven't found anything that smudges them yet, so that's pretty good. Find it really handy. What do I use for paw pads? Sometimes fleece, sometimes minky, sometimes vinyl. Pencil works too. I don't really like pencil for drawing on fur. I don't find it works properly, but depends on the type of fur I'm using and stuff. This is standard luxury shag in pewter. This particular one here. Long story short, I'm not really trying to use luxury shag if I can avoid it anymore, but I still have quite a bit of stock of it, so I'm going to use some of my excess stock on this guy. Good drink of water to keep me going. Now my pewter pieces, I've started with them because they're kind of easy in the sense that none of them are pre-trimmed. Now the most important thing to remember is the direction of the fur and the direction of the fur on your pattern pieces. So if you put little arrows on there like I do, super helpful. I'm gonna flip this. Start down here. Yeah. That's more like it. See if I can get the clover checko to work. I can! So, I have this great little weight rack that I've made for all my pattern pieces. It's just chunky metal washers, and they just hold the piece down really nicely. What I'm using right now is the chalk pen, or chalk liner, or whatever it's called. Shout out to my friend Miss Raz, who is in this chat, who told me about these things. I've always found chalk to be a bit chunky and a bit messy. These guys are really fine, make a really good line. The only problem is, I don't think they're terribly clear on a lot of fabrics and on a lot of colours. May just be me, but I do have problems with it. When these headpieces are so delicate and intricate. Might end up using one of the other pens instead. I've got a white fabric pencil, but I don't find that works very well either. I've used biro in the past, but again, if it gets alcohol on it, then it will bleed. That's probably fine on darker colours that you won't actually see the pen on, and there's not enough ink in a biro that will bleed. But still, just kind of avoid it where possible. This head is going to be sold probably on auction. Okay, so now that I've drawn around this piece, I'd normally draw around all my pieces on this fair colour at a time, but because some of these lines are quite faint, I'm going to cut this out first before I forget where the lines are. But this pattern piece here, now that I'm done with it, I'm just going to put it to one side. And do not throw your pattern pieces away until you are completely finished. I can't stress that enough. It's so easy to mess up. So easy to, I can't even think of the word, to lose pieces or trim a piece too deep on the head and you might need to recut that piece. So just keep your pieces handy. There's no point throwing them away until you're done with everything. Nope. So I'm not sure if this is going to be sharp enough. Yeah, very sharp actually. nice. And because I added on my seam allowance when I cut these pieces out, like so, I'm not adding any seam allowance here, I'm just cutting straight on the line. I prefer doing it this way because then my pieces are going to be symmetrical without different sizes of seam allowance or anything. Okay, that's actually a little bit too faint there. Can't quite see where that goes. I also can't stress enough about how there is no right way to do anything. Every method that I show you guys is just the way that I have learnt that I like to do everything. I've made a lot of suit heads and I've tried so many different methods for everything, and most of what I do is just stuff that I have tried over the years and I've found it's my favourite way. Some people, in fact a lot of people, don't like the foam bucket base style, this one here. They prefer just going straight onto balaclava. Or people don't like foam heads at all, maybe they just like resin. But this is what I prefer, so this is the method that I'm going to use. Okay, I'll get another piece out of there at all. No. Now that I've cut that out, I'm just going to give it a good brush, because there's going to be loads of little stray bits of fluff on the edges. Haven't actually cut the darts in yet, I'm just going to do that by hand. Now this is why I really like my little pair of scissors. I do actually really like just using them anyway, just to cut out my pattern pieces, because I think the nice sharp edge that it leaves is really good. Makes it really easy to sew back together later, and it's not messy. It just takes forever, so kind of need to come up with something different, which is why I tend to just still use sharp razor blades. But I can still use these scissors to get into all those little delicate areas. Any nice little pointy bits that are going to be hard to get into with a knife. Anything intricate has to be done really carefully. Scissors. There we go. Now what you can do is I'll actually do it for some of these pieces to show you guys, so that you remember which piece is which. You really can just put them on the head. There's no reason why you can't do that. Let me have a look. Is it easier to sell by commissions or pre-mades? I don't like calling them pre-mades anyway. I kind of don't like it as a word for bespoke handmade art. But if you're needing to ask which sells better, then I don't think you're ready to be selling. because this is such an involved handmade process that you kind of need to learn by doing everything a lot. You need to have made a lot of pieces in order to really know the craft well enough. In which case you've probably made some for friends or for yourself. I didn't sell any for years, I just made them for me, and then I started with some friends. But you need to have the practice, and then you shouldn't just be looking at it as a business. You're not going to be able to do it just as business if you're just going, yes, I can earn money doing this, because that's not what it's about at all. It's about enjoying it, it's about having fun, it's about having something unique that people want to buy. I like to do both. I like to take commissions, I like to work on projects that I will enjoy working on. Not because they'll be easier or more difficult to sell, but because this is what I do, because it's fun and because I love it and I enjoy it, not because I just want it to be a job. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and anybody else really who is thinking about building suits or wanting to start a business. I use quotes because there are so many people that just sort of, they go to a con or something, or they look around online and they go, oh, fursuit building, people make a lot of money doing that, I'm going to do it. And it's really not as easy as that. It really does take so long to gain your understanding, your experience, your style, your audience. You can't just go into it as a business. You have to build it up first on a personal level. Hopefully that makes sense. For anyone, like I say, anybody who's considering this. Hopefully some of you guys found that a little bit useful. Any tips for getting started? Not really, just do what you enjoy. You kind of have to just try it. You can't really learn just from watching or anything like that. Because actually, actually doing things in practice is going to be totally different from just thinking you know how to do it by learning. You have to both learn and try. So back when I started learning, there weren't a lot of fursuit making resources. There were some really old Matrices tutorials. There's a Cosplay Island forum post by Fat Kraken. And honestly, that was about it. I mean, back then people were still using plastic canvas, like, all the time. Which is something that now you almost never see. So, my advice to get started is to just... Oh, no, I still need that. Is to just see what you think might be fun, and then try it. Try and make your own character. Try and make a cosplay character. I started doing this because of cosplay. Very long time ago. It was all cosplay related for me for a while. I'd never built a suit just to have built a suit. It was all cosplay suits. But do something that you'll enjoy doing and you'll enjoy learning how to do. Don't rush. Take your time. Ask people for their opinions all the time, because if you just go straight into it and finish it in a couple hours, then it's not going to be good enough. And you won't think it's good enough either. You need to spend a lot of time refining and learning and getting some opinions from other people to see what they think it's going to turn out like, as well as what you think it's going to turn out like. And as I say to everybody who asks me for advice on getting started, it's difficult to phrase, but at the end of the day, you will do it wrong. It will not go right straight out of the gate. And it's the same with both building suits and commissions. You don't really make a lot of money from suit making. No, you don't. No, you actually don't. I did my maths, and between April and a couple of weeks ago, I had earned less than Well, I earn just over half of the minimum wage for somebody of my age in the UK. I would have earned a lot more money carrying on with my other job. So people who think, yeah, it would be a good source of income, honestly, it's not. It really isn't. It's so time consuming and it can be stressful, but I like to build suits, so that's why I'm here doing this. I only hope that one day I can fully support myself instead of earning like just over half of the minimum wage. And I work a lot more than full time as well. I work a lot more hours. So where people look at my prices, and a lot of people say they're reasonable or they're cheap, which I think they are. They're definitely cheap for the quality and the time that's put into them and my experience level. But at the same time, a lot of people look at them and go, that's a lot of money for a costume. And it's like, yeah, but it takes me a month. A month of my full-time life. If you take any full-time job and see what they're paid for a month of work, I'm earning about half that. Because this is just what I want to do. Okay. You have a problem. When you make a fursuit, you never think that it's good enough, but your parents and friends say that it's perfect. My parents always thought what I did was great too, but now when I look at it, I want to cry. So it's different perceptions. People who aren't experienced in either this particular craft or just craft in general won't look at it the same way as somebody who knows what they're looking for. If you're looking in particular for those tiny little finicky things that have gone right or wrong, then you'll be looking a lot harder and you'll be able to see a lot more in terms of both positives and negatives. If you're just looking as a bystander, somebody who's never worked with a suit before, they don't know anything about the construction or anything, they'll probably look at it and go, yeah, that looks really cool. But because you know what you're talking about and you know what it's meant to look like, then you might not think that. I hope I'm making sense, guys. I'm talking too much and I'm running out of breath because I'm really unfit. I'm also not sure what these pieces are for. So that's great. I just have this that says P for pewter. I think it's probably... maybe there. Possibly what it's for. That would make a lot of sense. But I don't know what it's for, so I'm just going to put those pieces to the side. Let's take a look. You don't understand what the difference is between good and bad quality fur. Bad quality fur looks thin, it looks cheap. You won't be able to trim it because you'll be able to see the backing. And it just looks scruffy. It just won't look nice. Good quality fur, however, this is pretty good. Luxury shag is like good enough to work with. I mean, this is a pretty good batch as well. There are some batches that are really thin. But if you look for the backing, on cheap fur you'll be able to see it really easy. On more expensive fur you won't. You'll have to spend a while looking for it. This stuff's pretty good. I quite like it. But not as much as I used to like it, which is why I don't want to use it anymore. With the amount of hours it takes to build a suit, especially a full suit, it is well under what is meant to be earned, but you should do it for love of craft. I don't agree with saying even if you don't earn enough money, you should do it for the love of craft. Yeah, if it's just a hobby and you just want to do it because you enjoy it, then yes. But because I'm trying to earn enough money to live, then I don't think I should just leave it cheap and do it because I love it. And any other fursuit builder will tell you the same. There's a difference between a job and a hobby, and the difference is that you kind of have to earn enough money to live on a job. I do, however, like to think that I enjoy the work that I do. When I'm off work for a couple of weeks, I'm kind of excited to get home and get back to work. When I actually end up getting back to work, quite often I'm not quite so happy. Okay, so as I'm tracing all of these pattern pieces, all of the pieces are two-sided. So there's the side that's the tape that you wrote and drew on, and there's the side that's the paper. So when I trace them with the tape side up, I'm just going to put a little cross on my fabric. And that little cross basically just shows me that all of these pieces are one side, and all the pieces without a cross are another side. Now, it's not as simple as this is the side I patterned, so this is the side with the cross. It's actually going to be the other way around. Confusing, but it's because you're drawing on the back of the fabric. So what would be the front of the pattern is actually the back of the fabric, so it needs to go on the other side, if that makes sense. No, I don't think your comment was... I mean, it can be disrespectful or rude. It depends on the way that it's said to people. I think what you said was just a verbalization of a thought, as opposed to something that was meant to come across as, well, you should do it because you love it, not because you get paid for it. I'm like, well, yeah, that is why people should do it. And I completely agree with that. In the sense that, like I said, a lot of people just sort of go to a con and they think, oh, fursuit builders earn a lot of money. I want to build fursuits as well because I want a lot of money. That doesn't work. You can't make suits just to make money. You have to make suits because you enjoy what you do. But there are a lot of people, however, who do think, yeah, you should be undercharging because it's not worth that much. You should just do it because you love it. There are people who think that. There are people who genuinely think that art should be a hobby, not a job. Even though, absolutely, like, everything you ever look at in the day while you're out has an artist behind it. Every poster, every car, every building, every street lamp, everything that's not natural has some form of art or design gone into it, which a lot of people fail to understand. Somehow. But that's not what I was saying you were saying. If that makes sense. I was just taking from the point of view that people often say you should do it because you love it. Or you should charge less because you love it. Or something like that. That's silly. That doesn't make sense. But yes, I left my job that paid a lot better than this because this is what I want to do. So the job also sucked. I didn't want to stay there. Now I get to do what I love. I get to talk to some great people. I've met some of my best friends. I get to go all over the UK to different events and see different things. I get to take as much holiday as I want because I work for myself, even though I have to pay for it. Just taking a look at chat a sec. I've moved my laptop so it's not right behind me, but now it's really low, so I have to like duck down to read chat, and then I look really weird. Oh, and that's my door. I'll be back in a sec. Just tripping over the vacuum cleaner, that's great. I know what this is and I'm excited to play with it. It may be relevant to some of you guys as well. This is a huge box for something this big. This is my variety of pigments for resin. So it's the So Strong range from Smooth On, which I'm going to be using for some really cool things, like these guys. Wait, he's backwards. These guys, which are going to be available as necklaces and badges on pins. And things like eye casts. This stuff's all eventually going to end up on my Etsy. And feet. I'm going to make little, because I've got these molds for my little cat dolls. But whenever I'm casting resin, I keep all my small molds around, so when I've got extra resin left over, because I always make a little extra, I can pour it into different molds. So I've got so many of these feet. So I think I'm going to put some fur on the top of them and make little key rings. But I need to paint them and stuff first too. If you constantly go through life without doing things for free, how are you going to learn? You're not, because you will lose so much in practicing. You can't just go into doing something just because you think you can be good at it and it'll go well. You have to go into things thinking, I'm going to have to practice and learn and do it wrong, and do it wrong again, and do it wrong again, and only eventually will you actually be able to do it right. So you will lose money. And that's the sad truth about people who start advertising fursuit commissions when they've only made one or two fursuit heads. And the reason they charge so little is because they can't afford to charge any more, because their quality's not good enough, but what they charge won't even cover their materials, and it honestly is a very sad cycle, but you do have to lose money on practicing for yourself first. And it's the same with anything, it's not just this. If you want to learn to do something, you have to lose out, whether it's time or money. That's even true for school. You go to school to learn. You lose time, you don't get paid anything, so you're losing money on the time that you lose. But you're there to learn how to do something so that eventually you can do it for profit. In theory. Because it's meant to be setting you up for the future and all that kind of thing. Okay, that's those. I'm going to throw them on the floor with the rest of my pewter. So that's all of one colour of fur cut out. You can see why this is going to take so long today. We've got 5 different furs. We've got pre-trimmed some of them. And then I still have to sew them all together before I can even glue them to the head. So we're not going to be gluing today, I doubt. As they say, it takes money to make money. Yes, it does. The reward of putting practice in must be amazing. Yes, it is. What is my opinion on selling blank foam bases as practice runs? I mean, it helps to practice one thing. It helps to practice just foam building, to get good at foam building. But when you put fur onto a foam base, everything changes. All the shapes change. You realise some things look smaller or bigger, or the noses look shorter, because that fur adds so much depth on top of the actual foam base itself. So I'd say you'd struggle to just build foam bases to be able to save up for furring, because in order to get good at foam bases, you need to know how furring works. I think it's doable. Some people do it as long as you're clear with everybody about how much experience you have, and as long as you show exactly what people are going to be buying, and as long as you say, look, this is me practicing, I'm trying to learn, then yeah, I don't see why not. But you shouldn't be charging as much for that as people who are experienced in what they do. So it's all about finding the right balance between how much you're charging and how much experience you have. School isn't about learning at all. It's meant to program you to be the perfect factory worker. Yes. Honestly, yes. The sheer number of people that have degrees and they've spent so much time and money learning at school, and then they can't even get a job, like, it sucks. But if you don't have a degree, then you've got no chance of getting a job. Or you can be an idiot like me and you can get a degree and then not even use it and be self-employed anyway, so you've just wasted a crazy amount of money going to university for 3 years, and then just to find out that, hey, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to waste my stupid amount of money. It's really sad and depressing. But oh well, I'm doing what I love now, and it's great. I assume that means what kind of material would I recommend for a scaly suit? It can be done so many different ways. I'm not sure I could even recommend to you. Because every single way you do it can be different. You can make scales individually, which would suck. You can carve into fur, by trimming. That looks good for feathers more than scales, but it could work for scales. You can use like spandex or something. I don't know why you'd do that, but whatever. You can use fleece. Depends on whether you want a toony one that's all squishy looking or a more realistic looking one. It just depends on what you want to do. I'd kind of just say try it. Try different things. Buy in some material samples and see what you like the look of best. Okay, this is Oyster Luxury Shag. It looks so much darker on my camera than it is in real life. Oh my gosh. It's actually pretty light. It's like a light browny grey. It's a pretty cute colour. I like Oyster. So, Oyster to trim, Oyster to not trim. Now, I'm going to start with the trim pieces. You need to know which direction the fur is going, so it's going this way. So I need to line up all my arrows. Okay, that's pretty cool. You can get that pretty small, actually. I hope you guys are finding all of this conversation useful instead of just me like talking about nothing to you. I hope it actually means something for you guys to hear this kind of stuff. Okay, so what I'm using now is the water-soluble marker because it's a good colour to go against the oyster fabric. It is taking a few passes for it to get to come out quite clearly though. That's not very clear at all actually. I'm afraid it's going to rub off because I'm not going to be cutting these pieces out for a while. So what I'm going to do, maybe switch out to a biro because I know biro works quite well on oyster. I like to try avoiding getting any Sharpie on the head base as well for the same reason. Alcohol will just make it run and it will ruin the fur. So when you're going to cons and parties and events with big crazy drunk people, you don't want to get that covered in alcohol. Chat, what's going down? It's currently 2:10 AM in Australia. Hello Australia. I haven't been there yet. It's a long way around the world. What do you feel bad saying on another maker's channel? Oh, about commissions and stuff? Nah, it's okay. If I had like a really big name maker coming on here, like getting all, hey guys, leave this stream and come to mine, you know, then I'd be kind of upset. But sharing your art with other people, sharing your page and stuff, that's great, go ahead. Especially because a lot of people on here actually I helped learn, which I think is wonderful. And if I helped you learn to do what you love doing, then please do show everyone. Like I say, at the end of the day, this was a hobby. It was a hobby. I grew up with it as a hobby. It only became a job because I had enough demand for it to become a job. Okay, that's one side of all these pieces. The registration marks haven't transferred very well for some reason. Sometimes I find the registration marks are a little awkward because they're so small. The little gaps I've got to draw them in are tiny, and the pen needs a bit more than that to be able to actually draw. Right, so I've drawn out one side. What I'm going to do is now flip all of these over, draw out the other side. Forgot to notch these registration points as well, so it'll be a little bit awkward to find out where they go. About there. Any tips for dyeing fur? Don't. Honestly, don't. Paint, acrylic paint and like water or an alcohol solution is the only way that people have found that tends to work quite well. And don't try dye. The only dye I know that works on synthetic materials is Rit Dye More, which I did A lot of trials went to try and dye some fur a really awkward colour, and it just went wrong, and it went wrong, and it wasn't consistent, and it looked a mess, and it was horrible, and I hated it. So don't do that to yourselves, guys. Please don't. I've made a grave mistake. No, I haven't. Have I? No, I haven't, actually. I'm okay. Thought these were the wrong way around, but they're not. I'm just panicking. Panicking myself for no reason. So, one more to go. Now, all of these pieces I marked as pre-trim. So these I want to shave down before I cut them out and sew them together to put on the head. There's going to be a lot to pre-trim. So what I tend to do is cut around the pieces. You want to leave a couple inches between the pattern pieces and the edge. If I can show you guys that. Like so. So now you've just got this big square of fur. Just going to give it a quick brush to get rid of any of the loose fur at the moment. And then I'm going to put that to the side as it is. So where I've got one pile on the floor of all the pieces I've cut out that are going to be long fur, I've got another pile which is just going to be squares of fabric that I'm going to need to pre-trim the fur on. Bear with me a second. Just need to buzz my sister. Forgot to message her earlier. There we go. How much does a fursuit head cost from me? You can find any of my information about commissions on my website at clovesuits.co.uk. Galaxy Cloud sent me a Gmail about commission. You think I forgot about you? No, I didn't forget about you, I promise. I get all my emails about commissions and stuff, but the problem is I really do get them every day. And I'm not open for commissions at the moment, and I'm not going to be until about February. All of my commission information, so my base prices, when I'm opening, if that's announced, that kind of thing, that's all available on my website. But I get emails every single day about commissions. When I'm closed for commissions, I'm closed for quotes. I can't give out any price quotes. So, honestly, I just don't deal with them. Because I don't have the time all day, every day, to talk to people about commissions that aren't going to be open for you know, months. So I'm really sorry you think I forgot about you. I didn't forget. I've got the email. I'm just going to be replying to all of my emails when I've got when commissions are going to be opening, and when I've got my quote form up and all my information, so I can just link everyone to it and they can have a look. But unfortunately, I don't have the time to deal with a bunch of emails that I get all the time about commissions, because I get so many. Which is great. I love it. And I'm so thankful that people actually ask me about commissions all the time. I'm just crazy busy. I used to reply to everyone, but it's just too much. I think most other suit builders will probably tell you the same thing as well. How long did it take for my suit making business to start? I was building suits and advertising my work for 8 years before I was full-time with it. Yeah, no worries, don't feel sorry about it. Like I say, I get messages all day, every day. I just can't waste my time with it because I don't have enough time in the day to be messaging people back all the time when I'm not actually open for new work anyway. But all of that information on my website, clevesuits.co.uk. You guys can find all my base prices. Everything you could need to know if you are looking to commission me at some point in the future. I've lost my knife. Knife. Hello? Hello? It's gone. Oh, ferrate it. That's fine. Whatever. Looking good, thank you. How long have I been making suits? 9 years. 9 years ago I made my first costume that could be considered a fursuit. It wasn't quite a fursuit, it was made of cardboard that was then covered in fabric which was velvet, not fur. But it was similar enough to construction of a mascot costume, and that's where I started delving into fursuit building. Which I love doing so much. It's my favourite thing. It's the only thing I do all the time and I still enjoy. There. I'm not sure if any of my patrons are in here, but I'm thinking maybe one time when I stream of doing a Discord with patrons at the same time. If any of you guys are patrons and would like that, then let me know, and that's maybe something that I can look into. So you can join in on the conversation. I think that could be kind of fun. That's not a definite, that's just an idea I've had. If people would like to do it, then I'd be more likely to do it. If people would not like to do it, then don't worry, we won't. what these bits are. Like fluffy neck pieces, maybe. That go about there. Not sure. That's all the oyster fur. Okay. What was I doing, guys? Picking a new fur. What colour should we go with? I've got black, turquoise and ivory. What can I reach? Turquoise and ivory. That'll do. Bit of both. This is all luxury shag fabric that I get from fabric.com. You're not a patron, but you should appreciate my Monday streams. 2 o'clock seems a better time, so I started at 2 o'clock today. For those of you in different time zones, I normally start at about 10 AM, so it seems like this is a better time for more people. Now when it comes to turquoise, I just have a lot of like stripes apparently. It's all just colour accents, which is fine. Nothing to say it's not okay. Probably gonna go buy her all this colour as well. I could topic my streams as well. Every stream has a different theme for conversation. Could have like a cat stream. Only allowed to talk about cats. Might do that next week. That sounds fun, doesn't it? I'm actually really enjoying working on this slowly with you guys. And the kitty cat away a bowl of peanuts for the hut. $11:30 in China. Hey Moofy. Moufy? Correct me on your pronunciation of your name. I always read it as Moofy, but it might be Moufy. Moofy? Let me know. I want to be able to call you the right name. Furring isn't too bad, just time consuming. It's very time consuming and it's a lot more expensive. You don't understand why people are mean to furries. Neither do I, because furries are just people. Like, everyone's different. Yeah, there are some really weird people and there are some people who do some illegal things, but it's exactly the same everywhere else in the world. Not just amongst specific communities, just like in general. If you walk along the street, I can guarantee you'll walk past some normal people and some weird people and some people that like to walk around, I don't know, wearing nothing and singing hymns or something. You'll get all kinds of people everywhere you go. But unfortunately there seems to be a higher percentage. Whether it's a higher percentage or just more outrageous stuff that people do, which attracts more attention, which gives the community a bad name. I'm not sure which. Personally, I've met some of the strangest people I've ever met, but I've also met some of the best people that I've ever met. I don't think any of these deserve judgment purely based on a community umbrella that they fall under. Yep, birds got into noisy mode. Rita! She's whistling back to me now. Hey, birdie! Okay, that's all one side of blue. Okay, just gonna have a quick look at chat here because I keep missing so much. Can't wait to have your own room to dedicate to art. Yeah, it sucks working from like a bedroom and stuff. Honestly, it really does. I do it all the time. Well, I did it all the time as a kid. What do you think about young fairies? It's fine, I guess, as long as they stay within the minor area of the community. Don't get involved in things that are out of their depth or that they don't understand. What about zoophiles? Okay. Can you judge zoophiles based on the umbrella they fall under by your logic? If you're judging them because of the zoophile, not because of the umbrella that they fall under. Yeah, I am wanting to end the conversation there in that regard. But just to clear up what I said about judging people based on the umbrella they fall under, that's judging the person by their individual disgusting habits, not by the umbrella. The umbrella just being the furry community. You can't look at somebody under that umbrella and judge them just because they're under the umbrella. That's what I'm saying. If they have reasons to be judged, of which there are many reasons you could judge a person from under said umbrella, like valid reasons, like illegal reasons and disgusting reasons, then that is entirely different. But besides that, I'm not going any more into it. I don't want to get into any drama, because I could see that coming. It's not my place to be, really. I don't tend to get involved in any of it. The drama, I mean, also, it's disgusting. Happy chat, I agree with that. Do I do any other art? I haven't for a long time. I used to love art of different kinds. I used to love drawing. Used to love making all kinds of different things. But not for a while. I kind of ended up getting myself into an issue with some self-esteem problems. And I wasn't enjoying any of the other art that I made, so I stopped for my own health. I draw every now and again, but it's all doodles and stuff. And I love sculpting still, I just don't have the time. Personally, you won't make a full suit for a person under 18. If you're looking by commissions, then you shouldn't be making anything for someone under 18 anyway, because they can't legally bind themselves into a contract of sale. I believe it's the same in the UK and the US, not sure about other countries, but if you're under 18 you can't legally bind yourself in a sales contract, and that's why PayPal and stuff doesn't accept people under the age of 18. It doesn't protect you or the buyer if you enter a contract with a minor. I know some people do, but I wouldn't recommend it by any means, because all you're doing is putting yourself and other people at risk. But at the same time, yeah, people under the age of 18 tend to grow pretty fast. So even if you're making it for yourself, then yeah, you're likely to grow out of it at some point, probably in the near future. So all those, one more on the turquoise. Fursuit making is sculpting anyway. Yes, yes it is. I completely agree with that. You draw as well as dance, that's pretty cool. I always wished I could do something active, but no, I'm just lazy and broken. If I try and move too fast, my bones don't like it. That's all the turquoise without trimming, so I can get that cut out. Okay. I'm just going to draw the to trim piece as well. Now this is a really thin, really awkward, fiddly piece that's going to be probably a nightmare, to be honest. Get that one down here. If you are new to suit building, don't design something this complicated to be one of your early on pieces. Definitely get yourself some practice in first. Bing! Okay. I've got all these straight and curvy lines to cut. And again, what I'm doing with the pieces that need to be trimmed later is just leaving a much bigger area around them, like that. That way I've got enough excess space to trim with. I'm going to add it to my trim pile. Okay. Oh, I need to sneeze. No, I lost the sneeze. It's like the worst thing. So guys, talk to me. Is anybody up to anything interesting at the moment? Got any good projects underway? Yeah, I think I'm going to need a new blade. It's really important to have a really sharp blade when you're cutting through fur, because else it just doesn't cut properly, it frays the edges. It's a total mess. This one's still not sharp enough. I'm going to have to switch it out for a new one. You distract people from sneezing by saying watermelon. That's horrible. You meanie. You need me one of these fancy knives? Yes, you do. These are great. I use them for cutting fur, foam, fabrics, clay, clearing up ends of resin, all sorts. Commissions start tackling, that's fun. Making a ref sheet, that's also fun. Trying to figure out if you're allowed to work in the UK for a year with Brexit and all that. Good luck. Brexit's kind of ruining everything. The second part is going to go live. The second part of this live stream series, sorry, should be going live hopefully Thursday. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. as in the video. I've already actually done the live part. We're not filming backwards here, don't worry. But that'll be available on YouTube, same as all my other YouTube videos. With my Patreon credits at the end, that kind of thing. So I'm working on just a hardware knife. Yes, it's a snap-off box cutter or a utility knife. They're all called different things, but yeah, it's the ones where you can extend the blade and you can snap off different pieces. So they're pretty good. I really like them. I also have a bad sharpener that I like using as well. This one. Sewing fur, that's fun. Random question, what's my favourite colour? Red. Like me some red. Black, white, grey and red. Good combination. Might be the whole reason I picked Team Bella. As per my shirt here. If there's anybody in here who has bought one of my head-based patterns on Etsy, which is what I used to make this guy, by the way, if you haven't already, if you could totally leave me a review on Etsy when you've used the pattern, just drop a little thing about how easy it was to put together, or how much you enjoyed it, or how good you think it looks, those kinds of things. That'd be super helpful because my Etsy's looking a little bit bare in terms of reviews. I'm also worried people won't be so inclined to buy it based on the fact that I'm quite experienced in what I do and they don't want it to be difficult. I think I made it pretty simple, so if you have a pattern and you think it was simple, totally leave an Etsy review and let people know. That would be great. Hello, anybody who's recently showed up. Oh my god, I think these new blades I got are terrible. They're just like always blunt. that was a good sharpen. Got real good now. Judging by the time, we may not even get these pieces all cut out by next week. If we don't, I might try and get them cut out before next week so that we're ready to trim and sew and that kind of thing. Just so you guys don't get bored. Would I share advice to a new fursuit maker? I get asked this all the time. I might have to make a video on it. My most important thing to tell you is you probably won't get it right first time. It'll probably take you a lot of trying to get it right. You might get discouraged and think that it's not good enough, and that might make you want to stop. But you just need to keep trying, because we have all been there, we have all struggled. It's just very rare that somebody starts building suits and it goes well straight away. So just remember that. And try not to get too discouraged when it doesn't go the way you want it to. Just try again. It'll take time, it'll take practice, it'll probably take money, but it's worth it. It was my favourite hobby for a very long time, and now it's my job, so. Also, things like always use a sharp knife and buy a lot of glue, because there is nothing worse when you're trying to get into a project than running out of glue, and then you've got to either go out and buy some or wait for some to be delivered if you have to order it online. That bit sucks so much. So stock up on glue and sharp knives. Ta-da! Okay. That's all the turquoise cut out. Oh, I have 2 colours to go, but I'm not entirely sure I'll get through them all today. And again, actually, what you can do, if you want to, if it helps you remember what's what or what goes where, then you can put all your pieces into place and pin them. You don't have to by any means, but it can be a good way of you remembering which piece goes where. But they're all just going to look a mess and fall off, and I don't need help remembering because I'll work it out as I go. So I'm just going to chuck them back on the floor and leave them there. We'll deal with them when it comes to it. Okay. Don't think I have too much ivory, which is good because I need this for another project at some point. Ooh, ivory. And these pieces. I thought there was more. Oh well. That's fine. Okay, that's really cool. Oh, starting to get tired again. Been working since 7:45 AM. It's now 4 o'clock. Hey Lucas, no problem, thanks for popping in to say hi. Shame you can't stay though, you're always so busy. Don't get to join us much anymore. Why do I use a mannequin for my head? Yes, exactly that. It helps get the size right, the proportions right, and then you've got something to work onto that's the same sort of size and shape. So if you just work here, when you put it on your head, it could distort and look all different. Where a mannequin helps keep it pretty rigid in the right shape. Ooh. Getting tired, getting sleepy. It's getting dark outside, so... What do I do with the pieces of fur I can't use anymore? Do you mean like all the little scraps and stuff? I have a huge bag there full of scraps which I donate to a local not-for-profit organisation that sells craft supplies to schools and kids clubs and things like that. So anything bigger than like my hand, I'll donate to them. That's... Oh no, it is right. That's strange. Okay then. Now this is a lot more difficult because this is a pre-trim piece. I don't want to be putting it too close to the edges because then it's really hard to trim the fur properly. So I think I might just carry on going up the side here. Not the best way to save fur, but whatever. When you spend as much time and as much money on fur as I do, you kind of end up being a little bit more relaxed. What type of thread do I recommend using? I just use a plain sort of all-purpose thread. As long as it's from a good brand, you know it'll be good enough quality to work. You don't need anything stronger, because the risk with using anything stronger is that if there's any tension put on the seam, instead of the thread breaking, the fur will rip, and that's a lot more of a problem to fix. So a general all-purpose thread, I use Gutermann brand thread, and I've never had a problem with it. Oh, that's all the ivory. We're getting close-ish. Oh, this fur is a mess from all angles. That's good. so we only have one colour left, which is black. There we go, have some black shag. To match all the rest of my fur. And which way does this go? That way. One. Two. That's all we have left. Getting close. Then we still have to trim the rest of the fur. And then cut it out from there. It's all been traced on and it's been cut the squares. to take a quick look at what's going on. Hopefully you didn't miss too much. You've missed almost everything. I'm gonna stop soon. I'm really sorry. But the stream will be available to watch on YouTube. I'm gonna try and get both this week and last week up by Thursday. Why is this in my head? Oh, well, sorry. I know college can suck like that. Okay, that's the last piece I need to draw around. Except for the nose, but that's not fur, so that's fine. Oh, I can't wait to finish for the day. The way they cut out fur is super satisfying. I mean, yeah, I'll agree with that. As long as you've got a nice sharp blade, then it's very satisfying. It's a good noise, it's a good, nice smooth slope. It's great, but it sucks if you don't have a sharp knife, because then it just drags the fur. So close. Just feel like I'm missing something. It kind of sucks. Yay! Oh. How do I find the right placement for the seam lines? Did you catch the stream last week? Because I covered it all in there fully when I actually drew them on this guy. The stream will be up online probably Thursday. Or by Thursday. And if you watch that, you'll be able to see everything I do when I'm trying to figure out where the seam lines go. It's a little bit more complicated than normal because I didn't actually design my character, I was just designing it as I went. This was my original design, this guy here, but because I wasn't doing it in a day anymore, I wanted to do something a bit more complicated and use some more furs, so I did. Okey-doke. One of the most important things for me is keeping it tidy as I go. Especially with fur, because fur sucks and it gets into your lungs. Okay, guys. Here's our pile of all the cut long fur. And here's all of the pieces ready to be pre-trimmed before they're cut out for all the short face fur. That's actually probably going to be it for today, because I'm knackered. And I want to try and get these videos uploaded or edited so I can get them uploaded for you guys this week as soon as possible. Let's get all the fluff off my hands. So I'm going to go and start on that now. And I will leave you guys... I've got fluff on my tongue, it's really annoying me. I will leave you guys at this stage until next Monday. What I might do is pre-trim most of these and then just do one or two with you guys, just to save you guys watching me doing exactly the same thing for ages, because that's what it's going to be. So, I might try and get these done, most of these done before next week, so we can then just start fresh. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate any one of you that has come down to watch, however long or short it's been, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.